That's what we thought. This should just be is just us quizzing you on life.
Can I just rub both your heads while I'm talking?
Well, we're here to talk because as we were discussing this arc of, or the season, I guess is what we're calling it, talking about fatherhood, it occurred to us that we have kind of a microcosm of the rapid change that we've gone through in society, just in terms of what fathers have to be aware of.
Yeah.
I mean, so just to put it all on the table, empty nester, first grandkid, 2 in high school. I got 1 in 5th grade. So I'm edging close to that. Like my 2 high schoolers don't need a lot of day. I mean, they're expected to take care of themselves, know their schedule, do their homework. I'm more hovering around them than coaching them on a day-to-day basis. You are not anywhere close to empty nest.
No. Full nest. No more eggs.
Nope.
So
That's right. You're done, but you're in the thick of it.
yeah. Are you going to kick your kids out of the nest, or are they going to fly out?
That is always the question is like, so my daughter at age like 3, we told her what college was. And she immediately went and got a box and started packing for it. We were a little insulted.
Yeah.
But she packed her Mr. Bear and a bunch of other toys. That's what she was taking to college. So I always thought she would be the Miss Independent, go off, and I suspect she might stick around. She's really connected to family and friends. And
Yeah.
my sons might just be gone, but you never know. I mean, you just can't tell.
Yeah.
Until it happens.
My son left and stayed in touch, but he never lived at home again. I mean, he came home and visited on breaks and stuff because they don't have any place else to live. But our daughter left and came back and left and came back and left.
Yeah.
I might ship one of mine to military school early.
Early?
Yeah.
Do you know which one? Or
In Alaska.
In Alaska.
Yeah.
I said which kid?
Yeah. But I know which kid in the furthest one away. That's good. He'll turn out great. Sure. But yeah, no, I've thought about that in a way that, back in the day, you would send your kids off way before college, right? But we don't do that anymore. I mean, mainly because you got to be probably wealthier in a different class to do that.
In British.
But is that like a good thing for them at that age, Because we always do the break at college. That's like make or break.
Which is arbitrary. This is where we break it. Yeah.
Right. But is it good to send a 6th grader to a school to come back? Is that, what do y'all think?
It might depend on the 6th grader, but
or a 9th grader.
I think it's just weird. I think we foster dependence, just this desire to. I mean, I don't want to attack the nuclear family by any stretch, but it does seem like we highly value family interdependence. Like my son married a woman, my daughter-in-law. She's the youngest of 5, and like they still get together. I envy them. They still get together at family camp every year. Mom and dad, who are now grandpa and grandpa, 5 kids, 5 spouses, 18 grandkids.
Wow.
And they go to family camp every year for a week at a Bible camp, and they love it. And I envy that. Like,
yeah,
how cool would that be? Yeah.
So yeah, that's on the tail end, keeping it. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, your dad, was there a thing like that?
Yeah, my dad was left my grandparents were missionary. My dad was left with a family in Southern California while my grandparents went back to the mission field in Asia.
Right.
He was 12. His sister was 10.
Yeah.
And then they took the 6-year-old with them, which kind of messed up the 10 and 12-year-old. Like, why did she get to go and we didn't get to go?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
But my dad was on his own from the time he was 12, and I don't think it was good for him.
Yep. Who did he stay with? His grandparents?
No, he stayed with a family, a Christian family that ran a Christian camp.
I can't imagine anybody. Mom and dad in our house, at our family, my kids' mom and I, always, like, we will have trusted friends that we know a lot of, and we're not hesitant to share them and or let them go away. But we're just like, every bad story this is the family. Like we got left somewhere with some family that they didn't know quite well.
Yeah.
And and this comes back to the point why I thought this conversation should be interesting is if you were to go around the horn as three fathers, and let's take an age or 10 years old. What were you most worried about your kids when they were 10 versus what I was most worried about when they were 10 versus where yours are heading or already? What's your oldest age?
10, but I got a 9-year-old boy. Yeah.
So where you basically are now, and we're not that far apart in ages.
Right.
Well, you like to say we are, but
we're not even 20 years apart.
yeah, we're not even that generation technically removed, but it feels like three different generations. So from my vantage, my biggest fear at 10, 11 was, what are we going to do about social media?
Right.
Because it's new and we know it's probably not the best. And we already knew the staring at your screen thing was going to be a problem. We were not ready for just how much of taking selfies, posting things, cultivated presence online, all these things. That wasn't at all what was going on.
It was just beginning.
Just beginning.
My daughter's born in 94, son in 97. So 10 years old would have been like that 04 to 07 time, right? So 07 is when the smartphone came out. So Facebook, MySpace.
Well, you were more worried. You were more worried about
a computer. They weren't carrying it around with them.
Yeah.
So that I didn't care about that because we had one computer was in a public place.
Right.
I didn't let my son have a Facebook account. And so he was like without my name on it. Like he had to have my name on it.
Well, back then, I remember AOL chat rooms being a thing.
Like, we didn't do that.
No.
I'll tell you what I was worried about is who my kids were hanging out with.
Okay.
So that, and then the inverse side, we homeschooled and kind of we did a little bit of public school, a little bit of homeschool, a little bit of charter school. And when my daughter was in kindergarten, she came home like the second week of school, public school. We let her go to, she wanted to go to kindergarten and public school. Well, I mean, she didn't care. We just thought kindergarten would be good. So she comes home like the second week of school, looks up to me with this innocent face and these big blue eyes and says, "Daddy, what's a mother effer?" And I went, "What?" And she
So you didn't say mother.
No, she did say F, yeah. And I said, "What?" And she started to repeat it. I'm like, no, I got it. It's just a grown up word, honey, but please don't say that anymore. And we went to, a few weeks later, we went to the open house at the school.
Yeah.
And in her kindergarten class of 22 kids, we're the only parents that showed up.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. That's where I was like, oh, wow. And this poor teacher, every desk had a little stackable. But yeah, so I was thinking like, oh, what is it like when you are around families like this that don't even show up for and I'm not trying to criticize everyone, but some of those folks should have shown up for their kindergartners.
Yeah, sure.
Open house. And then when she was in 6th grade, so then she would have been 12, she went to the public middle school, and she had 2 projects in 2 classes. One was an accelerated class and one was a regular class. And she was in a group. And in her accelerated class, I asked, every kid came from an intact marriage, family. And in her regular class, like 4 out of 5 of the girls were from broken families. And I just thought, wow, that's pretty incredible to see the difference. And even in 6th grade, the performance difference. So yeah, who they were around was a big.
So it's still a fathering question of what are they being exposed to.
Oh yeah.
But yours is more interpersonal. Mine started to be more online. Jeremy, what keeps you up at night as a father, worried about like what they might be exposed to?
Roblox.
Roblox.
Seriously.
It just got sued.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't it like 70% of kids? There's some weird number like that.
I don't know what the statistics are. I know that Louisiana, the state, is suing them because it's like the #1 app for predators.
It goes deeper. So what happened is there was a young man. Here's the deal with predatorial stuff. Anytime your kids are online, they're exposed.
Absolutely.
That's have to be the thing. It doesn't matter if it's Skype, that we don't get Skype anymore. Doesn't matter if shut up.
It's called Teams now.
Teams. It doesn't matter if it's Teams or if it's Roblox or any online game. They're exposed.
Yeah.
That's just a risk. What happens with Roblox is there was this one young man, and he's a YouTuber, and he was actually sexually targeted on your Roblox by an older man. He grows up, and he becomes sort of his own Chris Hansen. and he starts making videos going in trying to. Well, he's actually gotten people arrested.
Yeah, yes.
So then Roblox sends him a cease and desist and bans him from the game entirely
Oh my.
For exposing.
for exposing what was going on. Everyone knows this is a problem, and now Louisiana stepped in and said enough is enough.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is one of those things where you find out after the fact. A lot of parents are finding out after the fact, and that's just one. I mean, I just wrote an article for New Adam Project about gambling.
Yeah.
Like that's not anything I know, and I don't know no one that has had a gambling problem. Well, I know one person, and he had lots of other addictive issues. But right now, 40% of Gen Z and Gen Alpha have done online gambling. It's a budding vice.
Yeah.
But to stop about Roblox, like what were you experiencing as a dad?
Yeah, I mean, so I would say there's multiple facets to it because we still care about who they hang out with.
Oh yeah.
But it's digital.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally, that's the big difference. So we have a pretty good grasp on who they hang out with. It's just there's not that much pressure. You're actually trying to find people for them to hang out with, actually, because a lot of
like real people.
yeah, like, hey, can we merge kind of families and have a play date or doing that kind of stuff, and then you're into a different category because you're like, are we parenting similar? I mean, everything's so niche now. There's not like common threads of this.
Do you not want to play a date with the gentle parent?
Oh no.
No, and you don't want to play date.
Stop hitting everybody.
Yeah, or you don't want to play date with a helicopter parent
Oh, okay.
because you can have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then they start parenting all the kids, and you're like, wait, that's my kid. I got this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's what I worry about with my kids is like I don't know, consistent pull towards screens of any kind and always, because that's where all the action happens. And that, not a lot of people are doing stuff in real life that are not even drawing them in or convincing them it's better, but just people do stuff digitally all the time.
Yeah.
And what do you lose when you're not part of the physical world as much? And that's started, I think, it's just been progressing, but it's accelerating faster and faster. And, I really think about that. I think about AI is as dumb as it's ever going to be.
Mm-hmm. That was my next question: is are your kids even aware of AI, or is it no?
No, because we kind of shield them from it. When my wife hates AI, like hates it with passion.
Yeah.
She thinks every prompt I do melts a glacier somewhere. So it's just marital things. That's not this episode though.
I think that's more of a review of you than Glacier.
Yeah. Well,
Well, you're the one that told me to stop saying please and thank you to
Yeah.
AI because it uses energy for it to read those words.
Saying please and thank you in ChatGPT release that it costs them something like $10 million a month because it has to think about every word to tell it.
oh, well, I just dictate. I just be in my car. I just turn it on. I'll just dictate my thoughts. I won't even ask it a question. I'll just see what it says. And my wife's like, yeah, you're a bad person. Anyway,
Well, getting back to your kids,
yeah, that is my kid.
have you read the book Anxious Generation? Jonathan Haidt?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Spot on. I mean, I think
What's the since I haven't read it, what's the synopsis?
Yeah. So Jonathan Haidt's a sociology professor at NYU, not a Christian, but he's raising the alarm he wrote The Coddling of the American Mind. Which,
Oh yeah, I know that one.
So that was about college kids coming in and like in a 2-year period going from, hey, we're learning how to think here to, oh my goodness, don't expose me to anything that might offend me.
Yeah.
So now he's written this book, The Edge.
unsafe.
Yeah, it's unsafe. Yeah, safe zones and
Yeah.
triggers and micro triggers and microaggressions. But this Anxious Generation book talks about, especially for young girls, preteen and teenage girls, but mostly preteen girls, the impact that social media has on them. And then for boys, it's screens in general, but for girls, it's social media.
Yes.
For boys, it's porn and video games.
Yeah.
And, just documenting the rise in anxiety and depression and self-harming behaviors in young kids, and really all being traced back to this online participation.
Yeah, I think after the coddling in American Mind, he got like a lot of press about it, and he kind of took that energy and started doing a lot of research specifically on, I think specifically on girls and social media.
Yeah,
and then was looking into other things too in the same realm with children. But yeah, just like basically, like it says, anxious generation, mainly because of social media, plus other things with boys. But
So your kids are youngest is 4,
Mhm.
and your oldest is
10.
10. So what if you were talking to a dad of 4 to 10-year-olds, and you're like perfect world?
Yeah.
What would you say to them about online exposure for their kids?
As little as possible. I mean, that's kind of our rule of thumb. And again, everybody parents differently. But I mean, it's to me. So, okay, take that book. You read that book, it kind of changes your view. I mean, even if you had a view like, yeah, it's probably not good, you're like, it's not good. It's definitively not good. Like
It's
a girl should not have social media until she's 18, because in this like formative years of her life where she's getting her identity through that lens, horrible. It's just horrible in every way for him. But it's dismaying because then you go out in public and you're, just eating at a restaurant. You want your kids to like learn social norms of eating, but then you look around with other families and everyone has a screen in front of them because the adults want to talk. And then a kid's just literally looking at a screen the whole time, headphones on, has no idea about social cues, no idea about what it's like to eat with other people or be present. I mean, they're losing that ability.
Do you think that's where the Gen Z stare is coming from? Have you heard this?
Yeah, it's to put it less nicely, people are becoming practically on the spectrum in terms of how they engage. Like they're so used to like everything being so close.
Yeah.
Their reaction isn't an actual smile at someone's story. It's like if they're laughing at something on screen.
Yeah.
So now they stare at you and they almost it's not a coldness, which is how older generations read it. It's they program to just stare.
They're watching instead of interacting.
Yeah, there's not a connection. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that is interesting. It's like because they're watching through a window. And so then in real life, it's the same thing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
I mean, that's like a 1970s horror movie about the 2050s.
Yeah.
Or was it early?
Yeah, we're there early.
Or what was the was it Wall-E, where the spaceship of lazy people? Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like, I mean, I'm not a parenting expert, right? But by all accounts, anything you read, research-wise, in anyone who's like actually engaging the conversation head on, it's like you need to delay screens as much as possible.
Yeah.
Especially in formative years. And, it's really, really hard on the flip side as a parent because screens are super helpful.
Yeah.
They're a like plug and play babysitter.
Yeah.
And you can find an hour around the house if you put, Bluey on, which great show. And
I watched Bluey.
I watch Bluey without my kids. No, I don't. But it's like it's helpful, but it's like it's almost as always accessible.
Yeah.
So then to make hard lines is difficult as well because you know what's best for them, but you also know what's easiest for now,
Right.
and you're always like in between those two things.
My kids, my son and daughter-in-law have a 1-year-old, and they have done everything they can to keep him away from screens. Like, and the amazing thing is like, just a couple days ago, my son called us and FaceTimed us, and so he's holding his phone so he can see the screen and the camera's on, so we can talk to him and watch our grandson, which we're only talking to him so that we can watch our grandson.
Right.
So, and then he said, "Dad, get close to the phone and watch this." And so he turned the phone around so he could see me. And he like bombed it over the phone. 1-year-old like was holding on to something, like dropped down to all fours because he can crawl faster and he knows it. Got up and I can see his hand reaching for the screen. And Jackson's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, if he sees the screen, he's just drawn to it because it's so.
Oh yeah.
It is like a window to a new world, but they're just like, no, we're not. So that kid almost never sees the screen.
Well, and I would say another
turning TV off
is even like TV's not a terrible thing, right?
Sure.
But man, when you look at like movies that you watched when you were a kid versus movies now,
See, that's my age. I will
It's
watch my old movies with my kids that have been programmed with modern, YouTube and other things. And inevitably, we get an hour in, and they're like, "How much? How much more?"
Oh yeah.
oh, the pacing, the screenshots, cuts, like it's crazy. So like our kids, we would put like Aristocrats or something like super old or the original Robin Hood because it's just like it's slow. You're like watching something unfold, right? and not like screen cut, screen cut, screen cut, screen cut, screen cut, which is every movie now because they're just trying to capture their attention. But if you watch them back to back, I mean, it's literally insane. Like the new popular movie all the kids like is K-pop Demon Hunters. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
It's not a tool. Well, I mean, it just came out, but it's actually a pretty good movie. I'd be interesting if you've watched it to hear your take on it. But I mean, just the amount of like visual flashes is like seizure inducing.
Wow.
Versus watching like, you know, if we're watching Mickey Mouse or something growing up, you're like, it's just slow moving. And there's like, you know, it's not like all these high level things that they're also trying to engage the parents in. So they're entertained and, you know, it's just so different. And everything's getting more and more short. Got to get it as much as you can. Sugar rush. And like, that's also harming brains of little kids as well, because they don't have time to really like think and comprehend what's going on.
And I could take that one step further because similar reaction when my kids were the ages yours are now. What's happened to me since, so someone in the middle of the journey, is getting beyond that. Now, the amount of messaging jammed into modern media is significantly skyrocketed. I mean, you know, we went back recently and rewatched all the Back to the Futures. It's like there's fun stories. They're not trying to tell the people how to live and what's right and wrong. And then we switched to, I forget what we watched. It was something a little more modern. Immediately, it's just social messaging, social talk. And it's not that I care about those things. I taught my kids what that is and how to deal with it, how to think about it. Particularly my high schoolers, they've been seeing this stuff since 6th grade. But they're getting exhausted with it. Like that's the one answer I would say as a dad right now is they're just like, can we just stop making everything gay and racist and homophobic? Like
Yeah.
And it's not that they believe that they are. They're just tired of being told constantly that they are.
You're harming the earth.
Yeah. Particularly my middle son, he's like, all I did was get born, and apparently I made everything bad. He literally said this to me, and I don't remember once having a political conversation with my buddies growing up. We'd sometimes be like, oh, what do you think? You conservative? Whatever. We'd just keep doing light with that stuff. We knew what our parents thought. We knew kind of what we thought. My son at 13, 14 is already having full-blown, like, Rush Limbaugh level conversations about all kinds of issues. I just dated myself. I know. But,
Who?
Shut up. You know who you. But we were having all these deep conversations, and he's doing like online surveys to determine where he falls on a political spectrum. And here's what's weird: they don't fall in any two categories. They have like, he's like, I don't believe this. I believe this. This is my economic views, and I'm like, you've never had a job. How do you even have an economic policy? You know. And his buddies they're all just as strongly opinionated, and there's an opinionated, like, it's almost like a TikTok hot take on everything.
So is that from social media, or is that are they on the public school, or like they getting that from public school?
It's multifactorial. That my son's not on social media, so he's not getting it from there. He's definitely has seen it and heard it from shows he's watched, movies. So,
Yeah.
You know, he got into comic books. He went and bought a Superman comic. It was Clark's son, who's now gay. It was this whole like gay comic about Superman, and he just opens it and he's like, he literally goes, "Why can't I just have Superman?" Like he's just so annoyed with
I
it.
just have a bad guy that Superman beats.
Okay, this is what I was gonna say. This is something that I think is controversial, so I'm not gonna try and make it as controversial.
Sure,
but with the social conditioning, absolutely, with kids, this is a concern for me. That we've been in a space for probably, I'll call it 3 to 5 years,
sure,
where we don't have strong male leads, in kids' movies, and we have 3 boys.
all deadbeats, all like,
and maybe not even deadbeats. Some of it's deadbeats, some of it's like bumbling idiots, some of it's like
Just not there.
oh, I need someone to help me, and then a strong feminine lead character comes in and saves the day, and great, but it's totally imbalanced because there's so many movies I can show my daughter. It's like, hey, you know, this is someone you can aspire to become, and it's actually kind of difficult nowadays to find that. The other part of it is the bad guys or girls, whatever they are, aren't really bad.
No,
they're misunderstood. They have past baggage that kind of explains why trauma, and there's just no like actual bad people.
Yeah.
Which is
So Star Wars is a great example. You go from Darth Vader, the Dark Father, as literally what his name translates to Kylo Ren, who's just like torture, like
Right.
and
who's emo.
he was emo, yeah, frankly emo. And Adam Driver's a phenomenal actor to somehow made that not cringy.
Yeah.
But you can imagine tons of other actors just being like the whole time, which is kind of how this character was. And
Yeah.
parenting wise,
I
that
don't know. I thought Luke Skywalker was like that too.
yeah, that's true. Well, but it raises parenting issues because I have to significantly talk to my son about this. I will have to talk to my youngest son about this, where I say, what you're seeing are a lot of insecure, lacking confident, don't know who they are in God, men in this world. And it's showing up in your pop culture as well. And I just keep having to say, don't be like that. You have to be something different than what you're seeing going on here. So we just started reading through the book of Proverbs together each morning. And I just keep saying, notice what they're saying. Be confident. Know who you are. Don't like, and it's, I feel like that was modeled more, even if imperfectly, by older generation men. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm saying like they would like provide and stay and be patriotic. Like they have all these like noble qualities, even if they were not always there.
So when I was a kid, I don't think I think it's your TV that you watch, but I think it's also the reruns that you watch.
Sure.
So like when I was a kid, the shows were like MASH, which, you know, a little sketchy, especially in its day. It was incredibly sketchy. Now it's like on at 7:00, you know.
Right.
But
it's Nick at Night.
But the reruns were Maverick, Gunsmoke, Rat Patrol. It was like a lot of war stuff or Old West stuff. Always main characters. Now I think you could probably make an argument that some of their depiction of women was not great.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. But like you don't have like these. I can't think of a modern show or a recent modern show that you'd be watching in reruns that has like a predominantly male hero cast.
The closest we had was the Marvel universe before the Endgame.
Yeah.
Like I say that only because we recently rewatched them, and the boys are like, I'm watching like Captain America fall on the grenade. I'm watching Tony go from like the alcoholic playboy to self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And my son's old enough to now recognize this, and he's like, that's a great arc. He learned his lesson. He became a better man, and he's sacrificial. But since then, I can't think of many that other than any Western media that does that.
Well, they call it the MCU.
MCU?
Yeah. They changed all the characters.
Was it like
female leads?
Yeah.
Which is interesting about the cultural moment as kids, you know, are having kids and 3 boys. What do we do? Another thing actually, as you were talking, is it is a difference in age because there was reruns. There aren't really reruns anymore. There's so much new media.
It's actually on YouTube. My sons don't watch TV; they watch YouTube.
They don't really recycle. There's just on every app.
There's always something new.
There's something new to watch all the time, and it's kind of overwhelming because then you're not even getting into like these, like when you rewatch something or it's like you kind of re-understand, it kind of cements further in, maybe lessons, stories, or anything like that. But now it's just new. And what does that do to your psyche? It's not good to constantly get new.
Let's talk about sex. What was it like to?
Well, you pointed. That's
tell me details. No, what was your strategy and what was your main concerns teaching your kids about sex? And then I think let's go around the horn and because I think we're about to see a stark difference of how this is sped up.
Yeah. So 12 years old for both of our kids. My daughter went with her small group from church. Actually, they were a little bit older. I think they were probably 13, 14. They went away for a weekend. All the moms went with them and they did the thing. They did some packaged thing. Yeah. And my daughter hated it. My son, when he was 12, I took him away for a weekend. We did Family Life's Passport to Purity. It was, even though it was a little old fashioned, it was really, really good. I mean, like we listened to CDs. I had to find a CD player. We listened to CDs. I'm sure there's ways to get in now, but it was fantastic because like Dennis Rainey did it, said all the stuff that needed to be said, and I didn't have to say it, but I was there for it. And so I kind of vicariously got to say it. And here's the interesting thing. My son was 12 years old. They had an optional chapter on masturbation. And I thought, oh, my son's 12. I'm not going to put any ideas in his head. So when he was 16, 17, about to go to college, I was talking to him about that weekend. And he's like, Dad, that was great. I really appreciate you doing that. Not a lot. Most of my friends, their dads didn't do that for them. And I said, hey, I have a question for you. You know, I left out the chapter on masturbation. And he goes, yeah, you should have heard that. Yeah. I was like, at 12? He's like, oh my God, talking about it. Like,
the talk. This is a warning for you. The talking about it happens 3 grades sooner than you think it will.
yeah. Yeah.
So I thought to talk to my son in the 6th grade about curse words. He's like, you probably should have said something in 4th grade.
Yeah.
You know. So, question for you, Brett.
Yeah.
You talked about pornography. You talked about all these things. Did you feel the need to have to talk about LGBT issues, identity? That even 2006, around that age, like around that year.
No, none of that then.
This has come up. I was not quite ready for the frequency with which this is being discussed. Where last year I had a 4th grader, and I was a 5th. He's like, Dad, what's trans? Like, and he's just because he hears it all the time. And my 2 now in high school knew what it was, but hadn't had big conversations. We keep having to have these conversations all the time. And it's a totally different avenue of conversation, because you have to head off at the pass. Look, you don't just make up your own identity, sexual, spiritual, or otherwise. It has to be given to you. So you have to start almost at a foundational level of who are you as a male, female, then build up to pornography.
What about the birds who identify these?
There's the media. I mean, but also the media, when every hero, like, it's like even I grew up in New England, which is pretty liberal, even in the 70s and 80s when I lived there. I mean, the hero environmentalist or the hero whatever. I mean, they were starting that even back then. Even with it was no LGBTQ plus, it was LGB. It was really, yeah. I mean, I went to Tufts University. They had the Lawn and Garden Club. Lawn and Garden did not stand for lawn and garden; it stand for lesbian gay. And it was very beginning. But so you guys, like with your kids, like my kids were just beginning to see some of that in the media, not knowing what it was. But, this is going to sound really strange, but you know when I feel like the switch happened, or
when
was it's going to sound crazy. American Idol. This kid that won it named Adam. I don't remember his last name.
I know what you're talking about.
But it was like, is he or isn't he? Is he or isn't he? Is he or isn't he? And is he gay or isn't he? And he wouldn't say.
Clay
was the other one. Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, that was before that. But Adam was, because that wasn't even an issue with Clay. It was just he just seemed like the boy next door.
Yeah.
But Adam was like eye makeup, singing like Freddie Mercury. Sorry. And he wouldn't say. And then like a year or 18 months later, he was like, yeah, I mean, he was basically like, yeah, well, you guys are idiots if you didn't think I was. Sure. But like, it was almost like.
That was what, 2008, 2010, somewhere in there?
Maybe, I don't know. But it was almost like, okay. And like, I felt like that was one of those moments that was like, that suddenly like, it just didn't matter.
It's sped up. Now it's
accelerated.
Now it's the character must be something alternative.
Right.
Not even sexually, just it has to be
right. Can't
out there.
Yeah.
But I do think we might be at a little bit of a turning point.
I think so too.
I think probably when you were parenting through it, it was at its height.
Yeah.
Its height of like
yeah,
infinite dispersing into so many different things, right? But I think there's
like a pendulum that's starting to come.
Oh yeah. I think so. I mean
my sons are both like, our friends are just sick of it. Like they're not going. I've been happy to see there's not like a hyper right wing swing, which is what everyone's alleging is going to happen.
Yeah.
No, they're just like, this is stupid. We're done, and that's their attitude.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's also interesting now because there's just kind of subgroups forming in it, right? It's not wholesale. We're all taking it in at once. Because like I have a buddy of mine who was telling me about this last week. I got lunch with him, and he was like one of these guys and was like, I put my kids in public school, and not trying to feel like bragging about it, but like, this is what we do. We kind of do the mission field thing. And all right, cool. Pulled him out in 6th grade because he went to 6th grade. Everything changed and was just like, inundated for half a year with like, I mean, they had to file restraining orders against other sixth graders. They had to do like sexual counseling because
Offended?
the son, because of what happened to him in sixth grade at this public school in the jump, because he was in public school the whole time, but then he got into this one and like everything converged and there was like different schools coming in. And he said it was so insane that he said, I realized that even in a public school with other parents, we're in a bubble of what's actually happening in reality.
Right.
And so we can have like these subgroups where it's like there's kind of like that safety net around it where you want to have the conversations when you have it. But for a lot of people, they are always trying to catch up where their kids hear way more than what they can even catch up to do. And he said it literally was hell. Yeah. I mean, he talked about it. He said, I mean, this was this past year. So he's like 6 months out of it. But he's like, it almost like crushed our family because of how horrible it was and just how consistent it was. And our kid being like, what do I do in this situation? And he's just dealing with like the most grotesque sexualized things that then you think, where are these other kids in middle school getting all this from? You know, and
it used to be, I mean, the good old days were when some kid smuggled the Playboy that he found in his uncle's, you know.
That's all I saw. I saw that once because the internet didn't come out until I was in college.
Yeah.
Then you had to go to a computer lab. That was the only thing I ever saw was like 2 times somebody had a magazine.
Yeah.
It was like the most you had access to.
Yeah.
I'm sure others had more, but.
And no, not to be crass, but like it was simple.
Compared to what's available now.
A picture of a naked person.
Right.
Maybe posed a little. Now it's like, it's
worse. Whatever the worst thing you can think about, it's worse.
Yeah. It's worse than that.
Yeah. But that's kind of how I feel too, because like for us, you know, we homeschool, and it's not like a righteous crusade that we're doing, but our oldest was going into kindergarten.
It's probably relieving in lots of ways.
Yeah. I mean, like for us, our oldest was going to kindergarten during COVID. So she was going to be at home looking at a screen all day, or my wife was just going to do homeschool. So we did, and we just take it year by year, and we're here, and we have a 5th grader, 4th grader, now a kindergartner. And, you know, when you talk about sex talk, kind of comes naturally when you do homeschool. So we have chickens, you probably know this, but more chickens than I'd ever like to have. But it's like animal husbandry. You just have to talk about it. Yeah. It's very biological. It's very science-based. Yeah. It's not sexualized, but it is sex, you know, and this is what it is. And then, so you're kind of having those conversations with the kids. Not that we live on the farm by any means, but it's just like, this is functionally what it is. So it's not like the romance side of it. There's not any of that because they're not at even that puberty level yet.
Sure.
But they're not also at that exposure level yet, which I'm glad, because I don't want to be catching up or exposing them too young, because I think that can cause damage too. But at the same time, I would say there's probably a much bigger push now than when you were raising kids that were 10 to talk about potential sexual violence. Not in what is sexual violence, but like, hey, this is your penis. Only me and mom can see your penis. Like, we tell all of our kids this all the time.
That was one of the big gaps in our generation being raised, is like stuff was happening. I mean, we see the statistics of the amount of assault and other type of inappropriate behavior.
I think there's just more forward conversations happening where it's like, hey, we're not going to have shame and keep things secret. You know, like growing up, you know, I had very boomerific parents. So I never got a sex talk. We would not say penis in our house. Absolutely not. That's crass. But it's like, no, it's just explicitly biologically, this is what it is. And, you know, you don't show this with your brothers. You don't show this with anyone when your mom or your dad's not here. But there's books about that now you can kind of read. So there is like, I would say in that one area, much more helpful conversations and healthy conversations where there's not like shaming language or there's like secrecy that you got to keep.
Yeah.
But you're talking about it and kind of like planting those seeds in a way, just as they get older, when those things come about, or they know to come talk to us if some weird situation happens. Because then again, the online stuff. I mean, at any point that could happen. And, you know, you want to keep an open relationship with your kids in the way that, like, I'm not ashamed to talk about anything. So you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about anything with me either.
Sure.
Like, so I'm here. Like, please do not hide this stuff, because there's no one on earth that cares about your well-being more than me. But I have to also model that I'm okay talking about it with you. And I really think there was that nicety culture in boomers where it's like, well,
Yeah, propriety. What was proper and
Yeah.
improper. Yeah.
exactly. And so it's kind of like the catch-22, the shadow side of it. Like
Yeah.
in some ways, the propriety is totally gone culturally.
Right.
Talk about whatever, and the crassness side is like
Yep.
through the roof. But then again, we can actually talk about things and not feel like embarrassed that we're talking about it.
Right.
So I don't know.
Did you know that it's mandatory for homeschool moms to get chickens?
Is that what it is?
Yes. They call it henna paws. Sorry.
My wife got it really young.
But it's interesting because I think ultimately it does all come down to the main instincts of a father are to protect and provide.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened is it sped up so fast from when you were parenting to now you still parenting and me still parenting. It's not necessarily different though. It's protect our kids from the world. And that looked differently for you, and it's more intensified for you, and probably in the media. I'm sort of in the Goldilocks stage, where it's like I have to talk about it a lot, but it's my kids got mostly unscathed. But it's all the same instinct. It's just
Yeah, kids are curious.
I'm curious. They're gonna do dumb stuff, but there are areas. Here's the thing. I think the deal with fathers is if you always raise your kids with the assumptions that you had growing up, you're behind the eight ball.
Yep.
Because my instinct for a while was, man, I'm going to give my kids a great childhood. I'm going to give them the things I didn't have. And now they got friends who gamble, friends who are liberals that they get upset with. And I'm like, this is all new kind of thing. But it's the same instinct, which is I got to prepare you for your life.
Yeah.
I can't prepare you for mine. I've got to prepare you for your life. And what they're dealing with is different than I grew up with.
That's good.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of just thinking through it, like for you, it's just protecting from the outside world. And I think the home was like, a haven that you could make
Right.
a protected nest.
Right.
The problem now is so many things can infiltrate your home
Infiltrate. Yeah.
in so many different ways. And it's like, and the kids are curious.
Yeah.
And I actually think that you probably had it the worst because I think there's a kickback now with my kids. Yeah, I mean it because it was at its height.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew. No one had strategy.
I'm going to open a Kickstarter for my social, emotional well-being.
Yeah, all your kids therapy. But yeah, like for me, I do feel like there's more knowledge, more like hindsight 2020 where, hey, this is how it's going to go if you don't do these things. And hopefully it keeps on that trajectory. But, it's always a swing one way or another until the next thing. But yeah, I do think that. I think protecting for young kids it's hard because I even think with protect and provide, part of it's you're lessening the protection as they get older and you're providing more of a runway for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But really, what are those ages? And as people become adults later and later in life, socially, independently.
Yeah.
What are the marks for that? And when do you actually want to send them out versus like, hey, you can't be in our nest forever. It does get complicated. I think it was actually more clear for you, like just like, hey, here's the path that you take to do this.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of different factors to it. I mean, one thing I think about is when can my kids afford a home?
Yeah.
I don't know. The way things are going.
Will my kids?
Will my kids have my home? Like seriously. And what does that look like? And how is that all the socioeconomical and just cultural factors delay adulthood? And then what's my extension to cover the gap parenting? So I think about that in the future. I'm not there, but I can see all these things happening and thinking, well, is the old model like we need to like at this age or at this certain marker, hey, you need to go out and do this on your own, or do we, because the world's a little different, we're going to hold you here until you get married? Like, I don't know, whatever it is.
If I were to, maybe it's not what I think is going to happen, what I hope starts to happen is I do think parents these days have to stop saying 18 is when you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you may not have them in your house. They, some kids move on and just be like, all right, I'll call you when I need you and I want to talk. But it's kind of what we were talking about in other scenarios, which is it's really by the age of 30 that someone's full identity and high, like they know whether like they've made some of their mistakes, they've been on their own. They like by 30, they're not at midlife yet, but they need to be set by then. We were talking about this yesterday. Like all of our ministry efforts are get them to 18 and make sure they're Christian by then.
Right.
And then we're like, all right, just go on out and live it now.
Good luck.
And now you have money, freedom, and access to do whatever you want, and it's
No oversight.
no oversight, no at least safety net to have a conversation about life. I mean, I would have loved to have somebody, to have lots of in-depth conversations about early career woes. Like sometimes I feel inadequate, sometimes I don't feel like this. I'm good at my job. Sometimes I feel like I'm the kid and everyone else is old. Like all those little things. But I just didn't think of my parents as the resource to go to on that.
Yep.
And there's lots of other little things like that in my life. Ultimately, though, I do think like our role as parents is evolving, but the foundation is still there.
Yeah.
Provide and protect, give them the best shot they have in adult life, and always tie it back to the gospel. Like this is your identity. This will keep you grounded.
That's good.
Go from there.
My takeaway is that you should homeschool and have chickens.
Have homeschooling chickens.
Yeah.
Deal.
Winning.